Okay, awesome. We are here. We are so glad you're here tonight. We have a great amount of information to get out to you, but we're going to really, respect your time. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell you, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know your name and phone number and email, and we'll get you extra information as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Joanne Parkin, who's a registered dietitian and nutritionist. She lives full time in Arizona, and she's coming to us tonight from Las Vegas from a hotel room. So thank you so much for sharing your night with us, and we're going to respect your time. So I'm just going to go ahead, turn it over to you, and tell us all about your background and tell us all about you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dana, for inviting me to be on tonight. I'm just really honored and grateful that I can be here and share with everybody just something that I'm very passionate about. Um, and I am a 50-year retired dietitian, nutritionist, certified diabetes educator. And I am going to be talking to you tonight about something that I was introduced to about 15 years ago. And that was when I was working as a head dietitian at a cardiovascular hospital in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And my friend, Dr. Mark Gordon, he introduced me to Protandim. And also that Protandim is a breakthrough in a new category of drugs and supplements called Nrf2 activators. And once I kind of dug a little deeper into Protandim, the science, and Nrf2, I was really impressed. I was so impressed with the science that I decided that I was going to take that little yellow pill and I was going to take it every day for the rest of my life because I was 61 at the time. I'm 76 now. I thought that I'm I'm doing everything I can to fight aging and slow down aging. And I felt that I had found one thing that was going to be the best complement that I could have to my, well, mostly healthy lifestyle. How about all of you out there? You have mostly a healthy lifestyle? Yeah, I'm not perfect. Okay, so what am I going to talk about tonight? Well,
Joanne,
what?
is there a way to put the speaker view or is
Yeah,
it
I have it on speaker view. Isn't it on speaker? You can't see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Can everyone else see her?
I
Okay.
can.
And
Okay,
slides, right?
okay.
Okay.
Yes.
You can see me.
Perfect.
Speaker view. I have it in speaker. Okay, great. All right. So I wanted to just kind of give you a little overview of what I'm going to talk about maybe the next 20 minutes or so. It'll be totally focused on Nrf2 activation and the role of Nrf2 in chronic diseases and introduce you to Protandim, give you some really good background about the power of that little yellow pill. And then you're going to learn a lot about oxidative stress tonight. And if you haven't heard of that term before, I think you're gonna really know something when you leave tonight. So first I want to start by talking about the chronic disease epidemic. And how many of you have been hearing about chronic disease epidemic? I think it's been all over the news for well, it's a highlight of the news, I think, in the last, I would say, 3 to 5 years. I've been in chronic disease management my whole life as a registered dietitian, master's level nutritionist, integrative nutritionist, certified diabetes educator. So I've been working in this field, literally for 50 years. And of course, the top chronic diseases that I've worked with have been cardiovascular disease and diabetes, but there's a whole host of chronic diseases, including kidney disease and now even obesity. They're considering a chronic disease. And the chronic diseases account for 90% of our nation's 4.1 trillion annual healthcare expenditure. So it is costing us trillions of dollars, and it just seems kind of like it's getting worse, doesn't it? And so this chronic disease epidemic is really lowering our rankings in life expectancy. When you compare the United States to 60 other wealthy industrialized nations, we rank near the bottom. Do you see that? You see that purple line there? We started at 13 in 1950. Now we're near the bottom. And look at Japan, how they've escalated up to near the top. Now, it's not because we're not spending enough money on healthcare, because we spend twice as much on healthcare as Japan does. But it seems to me like we need to do something different, right? Do we need to do something different? Well, that, that's kind of the bad news. But the good news I want to bring to you tonight is that these chronic diseases are mostly preventable. And that was the one thing, the message I wanted to get it across to people. And also that you start early. You start when you're a teenager, young person, even when a child, because these chronic diseases will develop over a lifetime. Now, we're pretty familiar with a lot of those lifestyle factors and solutions, right? We know about nutrition, weight management, managing stress, all of those. But I'm going to talk to you tonight and focus on something you might not know about. And that is getting to the root cause with nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics, the study of the effects of nutrients and bioactive compounds on gene expression. You probably have heard this before. Dr. Francis Collins, when he published, and he was heading up the Human Genome Project, mapping out all the genes. And he said that genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. And they've learned since that we can affect the expression of about 95% of our genes. So the good news tonight, too, is that you are not doomed by your genes. You can affect the expression of your genes. And welcome Protandim Nrf2. Protandim affects the expression of over 600 anti-aging genes. It's in that nutrigenomic category, the effect of nutrients and bioactive compounds on gene expression. Protandim is also first to market in the Nrf2 activation category of drugs and supplements. Just a little bit about what is Nrf2 activation. Well, Nrf2 is a protein that acts as a master switch in the cell that turns on all these protective genes. And Nrf2 controls these pathways. These are kind of important, aren't they? Yes. I mean, when you think about, slowing down chronic diseases, so, slowing down aging, well, how about this? Antioxidant, detoxification, anti-inflammatory. Now, researchers at Washington State University that have been conducting research in Nrf2 activation for many, many years, they call Nrf2 the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. So where did Protandim come from? Where did this just pop out of, nowhere? Well, actually, Protandim has actually been on the market for almost 20 years. And actually, Protandim started way back in 2005 when a scientist by the name of Dr. Joe McCord formulated Protandim. Dr. Joe McCord is a very famous scientist known as the father of free radical biology. And when he published that first study that showed that Protandim lowered oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days for everyone at every age, that the ABC News medical people, they picked up the study and they're like, oh, this sounds too good to be true. And so what happened is that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, they sent John Kionis, their reporter, into Dr. McCord's lab. And they tried to see if they could validate the study. So what I'm going to do next is show you just a 3-minute clip of this ABC Primetime Investigative Report. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment. For me, it begins with a blood test. It wouldn't be the first time I've given blood for this company. They want to check my levels of something called T-bars, which is a rough indicator of a person's actual age. T-bars can identify a condition known as oxidative stress, a kind of measure of the wear and tear on our bodies. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing. The problem of aging begins with the very food we eat to give us energy. As our cells burn that food, they also release toxic chemicals. Those chemicals, you may know them as free radicals, react with all the components of our cells, literally bombarding them millions of times per second, damaging all our cells. The result? Oxidative stress. We all have it. The body fights back with a system of defenses. It makes two antioxidant enzymes, catalase and SOD, whose job is to gobble up the free radicals before they can harm our cells. So, doctor, how often do I take these? And so, here I go. With that swallow, I've just become part of a potentially landmark scientific experiment. It's called Protandim, and tests have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm us. Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age, but taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. So just what's in this seemingly incredible pill? Well, actually, its roots are very humble. Protandim is a combination of 5 plant ingredients. Some you may know: green tea or turmeric, a spice used in Indian cooking. Others, Withania somnifera and Silybum marianum, are more exotic. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma, all of these, strokes, heart attacks,
Even mental disease,
yes,
depression.
Alzheimer's disease, depression.
But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically. Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after. Have we turned back the clock? Maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed.
We do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. And I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
The company that makes Protandim says its tests show the pill, made from ingredients used for centuries, is absolutely safe. For more, go to our website at abcnews.com.
Okay, so in that video, you learned that John Quiones, his oxidative stress was lowered by 45% in 2 weeks. The study showed that the subjects in this study, it was what, 40% in 4 weeks or 30 days. So John Quiones's results were even better than what they found in this study. And of course, that really launched a Protandim onto the marketplace, back in 2005. And now there have been literally millions of bottles of Protandim that have been sold around the globe in 24 countries. So I think that the video did a superb job of really describing, oxidative stress, the damage done to your body by toxic molecules called free radicals. And so those free radicals attack your cells and over time destroy everything in your cells. And then, of course, what happens, that destroys tissues, that destroys organs, and also leads to aging. And of course, that is something we're all trying to, fight, me included. So where do you get those free radicals? Well, you get them mostly from your environment, from chemicals in the environment, in food, in water, from pollution, lots from, EMFs, car batteries, just on and on. In fact, there have been 85,000 chemicals introduced into our environment since the industrial revolutions. That's all a source of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress triggers inflammation. So this oxidative stress, inflammation, this is at the root and of so many chronic diseases of aging. And in fact, on the screen, you're going to see the number of organ systems that are affected by oxidative stress, everything from conditions, cardiovascular conditions to kidney issues and on and on. Now, if you want to know more about oxidative stress, you can go to the National Library of Medicine, www.pubmed.gov. If you type in oxidative stress, you are going to get 330,000 research articles. When I first saw and heard about Protandim 15 years ago, there were 90,000 research articles on oxidative stress. It's even a bigger subject, and even more studying is going on how we can lower oxidative stress. No, so here comes Protandim Nrf2, activates that Nrf2 pathway. What that does is it activates those survival genes, those antioxidant genes, and it's those antioxidant genes and survival genes that produce all of these powerful, potent antioxidant enzymes. And they talked about them a little bit in the video. And it's the power of those antioxidant enzymes that helps to lower that oxidative stress 40% in 30 days. And Protandim is just, it's just a formula of 5 common herbal plant extracts. It's formulated in a very specific ratio. And it's kind of like a little recipe. That recipe is what activates the Protandim, activates that Nrf2 pathway. And so there's 7 US patents and 10 international patents on that formula. So here's the potency of Protandim. There's the difference, because you all know about antioxidants. That's been the buzzword for the last 30 years in nutrition. Well, there's 2 different sources of antioxidants. You have the direct antioxidants you get in food and supplements. You have the antioxidants that your cells make. Yes, your cells make antioxidants. The direct antioxidants, for example, in a vitamin C tablet, that vitamin C tablet will neutralize 1 free radical per molecule. But these antioxidant enzymes, 1 molecule will neutralize 1 million free radicals. It's like having a fire hose in every room in your house because of this free radical damage. Is like your body's on fire, your house is on fire. So it's like having a fire hose in every room of that house. Whereas if you are taking a direct antioxidant, it's like putting a Dixie cup of water on that fire. That's the difference and the potency. And one thing to remember is that it's back to the synergy of the formula, because these individual antioxidant, individual extracts only will give you a little boost individually of those powerful antioxidant enzymes. But when you take them all together, you get an 18-fold increase in the expression of those genes. Wow, that's powerful, isn't it? Now, after that ABC News piece aired, Dr. Joe McCord's phone was literally ringing off the hook. He was very well known in the scientific world. As a result, there was all this flurry of studies that were published on Protandim in very prestigious universities and institutes. And look at that, even I think Harvard is on that list. Look at that. So lots of really great quality, high quality research. But the one study out of those 31 that I think probably to me is most groundbreaking study was this one that was funded by NIH and conducted by the National Institute on Aging. And it was a 10-year study. And they found that Protandim Nrf2 was the only supplement out of a dozen plus that significantly extended the lifespan of male mice. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? Thinking about it, when you looked at that chart, that graph, and about how damaging oxidative stress is and how it leads to the destruction of all your cellular cells in your body and leads to aging. So this shows keeping oxidative stress low will help slow down aging. And we'll talk a little more about that and my experience with it. Now, I want to give you another example of the power and the potency of a Nrf2 activation, and that is with True Science liquid collagen. Comes in these little bottles like this, 1 shot servings. So liquid collagen, this collagen is extremely unique. It is Nrf2 activated liquid collagen. So some smart scientist figured out if you would take this red quinoa extract and then you would add it to fish peptides, that you could actually activate specific genes that would increase the collagen density in your cells. Yes, right. So what this chart shows you is the gene expression of this red quinoa extract. Actually, it's this red quinoa extract comes from a plant from Taiwan. It's called Dijulis. So in the research, that's what they call it. And so here on the chart, if you look over here on this green bar, this is the collagen density gene. This gene gets activated by 43%. At the same time, this Dijulis with the collagen, it downregulates the gene that degrades your collagen. You see that? So what does that do? It kind of balances you out at the level of your genes, nutrigenomics, right? This bar here shows you the massive increase in this powerful antioxidant enzyme called SOD. So just a whole lot of great, awesome, positive, kind of benefits going on inside. So, so the human study on this liquid collagen was published and showed with I think they were all women in the study, and it was an 8-week study. And what they found is that they actually measured the collagen density in the skin after 8 weeks. And so if you look at this slide and you look at this kind of graph on the bar graph here on the left, and it shows if it's all green, if it's green, it's low. If as it goes up and changes color to yellow and orange, that's increasing collagen density. So you see at week 0, a lot of green, right? Not much yellow and orange. But look at by week 8, that's just after 8 weeks, increased collagen density by 42%. Now, I've been taking this for 5 years. I can't imagine what my collagen density is. I know what it is because I'm going to show you the next slide. It's 100% because I've added I take the two together. I take the liquid collagen and the Protandim together. And when you do that, when you take them together, that increases the collagen density, increases that collagen density gene by 100%. That's great. Of course, in the study, they show that the collagen and the Protandim had just, really super benefits for, reducing crow's feet, depth of crow's feet, skin roughness, all of those great skin benefits. Look at me, 76, right? I think I'm getting fewer wrinkles rather than more. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so with these two, what we're doing is we're taking them to make antioxidants and collagen. It's very different than just a traditional, like supplement. When you supplement with vitamins and minerals, you're increasing tissue levels, serum levels of those vitamins. Well, this is different. We're affecting gene expression, so we're taking it to make it, right? Kind of get the idea, take it to make it. So in summary, I hope that you've learned here a little bit today about Protandim Nrf2, a breakthrough in a new category of drugs and supplements, and that Nrf2 category, that powerful anti-aging pathway, and that Nrf2, just 1 pill a day over 30 days will lower oxidative stress, an average of 40%, and up to 70% in 90 days. And I wonder what it is for me after 15 years. I can imagine I have pretty low oxidative stress. And you learned about how it activates those 600 plus survival genes. It's a nutrigenomic product, and it protects the DNA of your cells. Now, I've talked a lot about the science, right? And that's what got me. That's what got me taking the product, was the science. But after 15 years, I want to report that I think that we have good evidence just from my husband and I, as far as how we are aging. And so I want to introduce my husband, Jim. that handsome man there. And this little graph here on the next to his picture here is a printout of his metabolic body analyzer. At the time he was 86, he's 87 now, he's due to go in for another analyzer. Is, by the way, our family doctor. She has the equipment and the machinery to do this. So at age 86, his metabolic age was 71. To get that, he's been taking Protandim for 13 years and the liquid collagen for 5. Now I've had similar results, and for me, after 15 years on Protandim and then 5 on the collagen, when I went in at age 75, my metabolic age was recorded as age 60. Now we have very, very excellent joint health. We really don't have any joint issues whatsoever. I play lots of pickleball, go to step aerobics, ride my bike, and we're just really active. We're dancers. We go dancing. We just love to get out and go dancing. And we can do all that because we just don't have any, mobility issues. And we have our original body parts. People who live in retirement communities know what I'm talking about. When I talk about the fact that, we've got original body parts, because it seems like that's pretty common these days to meet someone our age that has 1, maybe 2 joint replacements. But I can proudly say that, we're all original. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dana. Dana, you want to unmute? And I think that we have another guest that you want to introduce, right? To share your story.
Yes, yes. I hope you can all hear me. Really quick, I'm going to get a couple testimonials because they're just amazing, mind-blowing. Becky, are you able to unmute? I see you're driving. Let's see if she can. Oh,
Hey, I just parked for a second. Yeah.
well, can you tell us like what was going on with your body and what you have now found
Sure.
and feel?
Yes. So much like Joanne, the science is what really hooked me onto trying these products because I'm a veterinarian and I love science and I love testimonies and I love research. And so I really dug deep when Dana shared these products with me. I had gotten rheumatoid arthritis and it was debilitating. I was in bed. I couldn't do anything with my hands. My kids were having to clean, cook, pump my fuel, do everything for me. And so I started taking Protandim Nrf2 and the collagen. And I mean, week by week, I was just making massive improvements and literally got my life back. And so I just feel like I'm such a testimony to getting that inflammation and that oxidative stress out of my body. And I'm so thankful because my inflammation markers are down to 0 now. I'm running again. I don't take any autoimmune medications or immune suppressants or anything like that for rheumatoid arthritis. And I just feel like that is such a blessing because that's what Western medicine was telling me I needed to do. I went and sought out a lot of help, and everybody was recommending steroids and take ibuprofen when you need it. And let's get you on these rheumatoid arthritis medications. And I just couldn't do it. The science nerd in me wanted to get to the root cause of chronic inflammation and chronic disease. And so taking these products has really blessed me and I would say saved my life. So I'm just so thankful for it. And I recommend it. Like Joanne was saying, also like start when you're young because everything in this world, especially in this Western world, is causing inflammation in our bodies. What we eat, what we're exposed to on a daily basis, and the lifestyle that we lead here is just causing inflammation and causing all kinds of chronic disease. So that's my story, and I love sharing it. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you so much. Yeah, these stories just get me so emotional a lot of the time. Really quick, in a couple minutes, I'm gonna pull Kathy. I see you on here. Thanks for joining us. I know you have a life-altering story. If you could unmute really quick and just tell the viewers in a couple minutes just really quickly.
Yeah, Dana, thanks for having me. And Joanne, great presentation. If the background noise is a problem, just let me know. But otherwise, for my story, it started about a year and a half ago. The nice little box that Joanne presented, if anyone noticed, I was kind of giggling in the middle of the boxes, managing stress, which I thought I was built to handle stress like no one else in life. So I had several years of high duty stress going on, personal, business, work related. And finally, life settled down. I landed in the emergency room shortly thereafter. And I honestly thought, like every typical woman out there, it's okay. It's just a little, infection. We'll get this fixed up. Much more severe. Through many months testing, going to the doctors, and having multiple blood transfusions, it was determined it's a 1 in 1 million autoimmune condition by the name of aplastic anemia. And what is so unique about it is every single cell line is attacked. So you have no hemoglobin, which is your blood. You need that. Your red blood cells, you need that for oxygen. I was short of breath and I just thought I was out of shape. Not at all. White blood cells, you need those to maintain immunity, and of course your platelets, so your blood clots, and so you don't die from basically any kind of bump or hit here. What I faced was beyond measure the amount of pressure coming out of Western medicine, as I had shared with Dana over time, and anyone that would listen to my story. The doctors were adamant on the only solution is a bone marrow transplant. And I just had an inkling inside of me. The stubborn side of me came out saying, hang on, there's got to be more. Just because that's the only way that's ever been shown, let me try something else. And you would have thought, I don't know what I had suggested, but the medical field doubled down. And I did try to get second, third opinions, but it's very difficult in the industry because doctors speak to each other. And so no one wants to allow you that time. So I was able to start up with LifeVantage's products, specifically Protandim Nrf2. I did take it twice a day, and I started to mark my bottles so I would know how long until I start seeing results. And I've been on Nrf2 twice a day for about 15 months. Shortly after, I started taking another item that we have for our mitochondria and Nrf1, added that in. And as Joanne pointed out, the collagen, that's been part of my routine for the last 14 months. So I started that shortly thereafter. I have not skipped a dosage. And even though I still needed transfusions at the beginning, what started happening is the body started to slow down the amount of damage and how often I needed transfusions. And now we are at a point where the last few months, it started to rebuild. All the cells were rebuilding. As you can see on camera, I've got color to my face, which was not the case a year and a half ago. And as of most recently in March, the markers are back to normal. I am ecstatic. I get very emotional sharing this story because, as Dana pointed out, you guys, it's life-changing. I would not wish it on anyone. It is a very big decision to take on a transplant. And if one organ's impacted, we all know the other ones can be too, which works as a positive for Nrf2, because if you're taking it for one organ, you're going to be just producing magic for your whole body. And my entire family's on it, those closest to me. Anyone I spoke to in oncology, I was slipping it quietly under, letting those oncology patients know that you have options, even if you choose to go through chemo, radiation, whatever your treatment is. But try it, because I've spent thousands on random things. On Amazon, online, I was desperate, like most of us are when health hits hard. But this is the one-all be-all that I will not stop taking it for the rest of my life, not because I'm required to, but because I feel so good. And I just can't shout out enough about it. So thanks for having me on, and hopefully some of it resonated with one of you all, or at least all of you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Like, this gets me so emotional. And that's just a couple of the testimonies that we've had over the years. Just as a reminder or maybe it's not a reminder to some of you. We do have a Facebook page. I think there's about 20,000 people on the page, full of testimonies, full of people posting their blood work, their cartilage in their back, going back to, puffing back up again when it was almost bone on bone. They also post all their scans and their testimonies of all different types of diseases and disorders. So if you would love to be on that page, just let me know. I can send you an invite to that page. It is a private page because of people's privacy and testimonials, but we would love to have you on there as well. And you can search whatever you want. You can type it in the search bar and all these different testimonials will come up. So thank you so much again for joining us tonight. We want to respect your time and just let us know if you have any further questions. I think that's it, Joanne.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Dana. And it's been wonderful talking to all of you tonight and meeting some of you. So we are recording this. In fact, I'm going to stop the recording here in a minute. And if you'd like to get the recording, just let us know. So, all right, Dana, thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. Thank you. Bye-bye.